Always forget. Okay, great. All right, so welcome everyone, and I'm so glad that you're here with me tonight because I'm really excited to share with you a simple way that you can reset your emotions, calm anxiety, and reduce stress. So some of you know me, and some of you do not. Oops. But I'm Bonnie Durkin, and I'm an author, an energy alignment coach, and I'm the owner of Empowered to Thrive. So I basically help my clients, mostly women, with creative processes to shift their negative emotions and patterns of non-supportive thoughts so that they can live happy, healthy, and deeply fulfilling lives. So I'm a certified EFT practitioner. I have been practicing for more than 22 years. I also have all kinds of other certifications, but that's not really important. So let's go ahead and just jump into the presentation. So tonight I'm going to teach you a simple process that can help you shift patterns of thought that don't serve you, process your negative emotions, ease worries and stresses, calm anxiety and overwhelm, and shift into a more hopeful thoughts and emotions so that you can feel better about yourself and your life and start moving towards what you want. So we all have patterns of thought that don't serve us. In fact, scientists say that the average person has more than 60,000 thoughts a day. That's about one thought per second during every hour that we're awake. 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that you had yesterday and the day before and the day before that. And 80% of those habitual thoughts are negative for the average person. This means that the average person has more than 45,000 negative thoughts a day. And scientists have labeled these types of thoughts ants, automatic negative thoughts. So the problem, one of the big problems with that is you can't have a thought without it creating a physiological reaction in your body. All those negative thoughts are creating a reaction in your body. And thoughts that have negative emotions attached to them trigger the stress response. And anxiety, that feeling of anxiety, that racing heart, the tension in your chest, the tightness in your stomach, the sweating palms, that is caused by the stress response being activated. So when the stress response has been activated, the part of your brain called the amygdala goes on alert. Now, the amygdala's job is to keep you safe. It's the body's watchdog. It's the primitive part of your brain. It's the part of the brain that is responsible for your survival. And when the amygdala senses danger, it turns on all of the body's defense systems to be ready to meet the perceived life or death challenge. Now, the thing about this is that if the danger is real, that's a really good thing. But the amygdala also perceives anything that has a strong negative emotion attached to it as a danger. So, like I said, it's helpful if you need to run for your life, but it's not so helpful if it's triggered many times each day when you're faced with the daily hassles, upsets, annoyances, worries, and repeated patterns of negative thoughts that we all have. So what happens once the stress response has been activated? The amygdala senses danger, and this is caused by strong negative emotions being present. It turns on the sympathetic nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system activates the stress response, which then creates physical symptoms: tension in the muscles, fast, shallow breathing, rapid heart rate, sweating palms, upset stomach, hard to focus. And some of the emotional things that go with it are feelings of fear, anxiety, anger, irritability, overwhelmment, or depression. So watching, reading, listening to, or thinking about things that produce negative emotions within you can activate the stress response, creating anxiety and other physical and emotional symptoms. So what can you do about it? Because we've all got these thoughts. We're all exposed to many, many things every day that create negative emotions. So the first thing that we can do is practice what I like to call good emotional hygiene. One of the ways we can do that is we can limit the amount of negative information that we take in by trying not to listen to news, negative media, social media, reading things that upset us, watching things that upset us, listening to things that upset us. The other thing is that we process and release the daily stresses, upsets, resentments, and worries that we all experience. The other thing is if we have past traumas and resentments, that we work to process and release those. And then process and shift your negative patterns of non-supportive thoughts. So how can you do this? So the way there's many ways that you can do this, but tonight I'm going to teach you a technique that I like to call the emotional reset technique. And it's a simple process that uses tapping, writing, and drawing to turn off the stress response, access the subconscious mind to process negative emotions, events, and patterns of non-supportive thoughts, and shift how you feel to a better feeling place. So tapping, what is tapping? It's like emotional acupressure. And what we do when we tap is we use the fingertips to tap on certain endpoints of the body's meridians. And I'm going to show you what these points are. And this sends a calming signal to the amygdala part of the brain, which turns off the sympathetic nervous system. And it turns on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest, regeneration, relaxation, digestion, healing, good decision-making, clarity, and creativity. So it's a really good thing. It's good to spend more time in parasympathetic than you do in sympathetic, because when you're in the parasympathetic mode, it gives your body a chance to regenerate and heal and to relax and to digest, and your the prefrontal cortex part of your brain, which is responsible for your good decision making and your creativity, comes online. It goes offline when you're in the sympathetic nervous system. So this procedure we're going to do tonight blends tapping with something that's called picture tapping. And picture tapping is a technique that uses tapping along with the power of metaphor and imagination to release problems in a painless and indirect way. Because picture tapping uses metaphor and symbols, it often allows us to access aspects, thoughts, and memories that may be difficult to express either verbally or by using other modalities. And picture tapping allows you to quickly process issues, negative emotions, and start moving towards how you want to feel. Now, when I say picture, drawing pictures, If you see the pictures on here, they're very, very simple pictures. And basically what we do with this is, and I'm going to guide you through this whole thing, you put pen to paper and you just draw whatever wants to come out. And a lot of times what comes out is just like a pile of scribbles. So we're not talking about making artwork here. We're talking about quickly putting pen to paper and drawing whatever wants to come out. Okay, so before we jump into this and I guide you through this, I just wanted to show you the tapping points, and I want to kind of lead you through and have you follow me through the points so that you know where they are if you haven't done this before. So the first point is the karate chop, and it's on the side of the hand, like where you would do a karate chop. And we tap on that with all of the fingers on the other hand. Now, it does not matter which side you use, whatever side feels better to you is fine. So that's the karate chop right here. Okay, and then the next point is going to be the eyebrow, which is right there on the inside of the brow. And we use 2 fingers to tap on these points. We use the index and the middle finger, and you want to use a pressure that is firm but comfortable. You don't want to be uncomfortable. Next one, side of the eye, then under the eye, then under the nose, then in the indentation on the chin, and then it's the collarbone, so it's right below the bony points of your collarbone. There's a little hollow, and you use both hands here. And then you go under the arm, like right, for a woman, like right where your bra strap is. And then we end on the top of the head. And you can use all the fingers with that one as well. So that's basically how you tap. Does anybody have any questions before we go ahead and we jump into the process? Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
How long should all of that take, and how long should you stay on each body part?
Okay, so yeah, so usually it's about 7 taps, okay? But basically, if you're doing it on your own, you can just kind of go at your own pace. And if a certain spot feels really good for you to stay on it, you can stay longer there. There's really not a right or wrong way. And when we do this tonight, I'm going to be leading you through it. So I'm kind of going to be setting the pace for everyone tonight. But like I said, they say when they teach, if you go and you go to a certification class, they'll tell you about 7 taps on each point, but don't worry about counting. And also, like I said, you can go slower, you could go a little faster, or you could stay longer if a particular point feels good to you. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do this emotional reset process. So does everybody have some paper with them? Okay, so what I want you to do is if you have a big sheet of paper, I want you to fold it in half. Okay, so if you've got it in a notebook, rip it out so you can fold it in half, because we're going to use different surfaces of the paper because we're going to be flipping it over as we go. So I'll give you a moment to set that up. Everybody set?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want everybody to just get yourself comfortable, ground your feet on the floor, close your eyes, and take a nice deep breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. And again, breathing deeply in through your nose. And releasing through your mouth. And one more time, breathing deeply in. And releasing out with a sigh. Now, I just want you to tune into an issue, something that's bothering you, something that's annoying you, something that you'd like to get some shifting around. And I want you just to know you're not going to have to share anything, so you're not going to have to talk about it, so you can keep this completely private with yourself. So don't. I may ask you at some point about some emotions that you might be feeling, but that's as deep as we're going to get, and you don't have to share if you don't want to. So tune into an issue that you want to work on, something that you'd like some relief around. I want you to give this issue a title. I want you to think about if this issue was a movie, what would the title of the movie be? And go ahead and write that down. Do not overthink it. Okay, now I want you to tune into that issue again, and I want you to attach some emotions that you feel about it to it. Just like write down, like say it's anger or fear or worry or whatever it is. Go ahead and just write down whatever comes up for you. Okay. Now, one last thing. I want you to tune back in to this issue, and I want you on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being it feels as bad as it could possibly feel, and 0 means it doesn't feel there's no feeling at all attached to it. I want you to give it a number. How much intensity do you feel about this? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some tapping now. And I just want you to kind of tune into your issue as we tap. With this tapping, this is just called tapping and breathing. We're not going to say anything. We're just going to tap slowly, and we're going to take some deep breaths as we tap. Okay, so we're not going to just go ahead and follow me. Starting on the inside of the eye, take a nice deep breath in and let it go. Moving to the side of the eye, nice deep breath in and let it go. Under the eye. Deep breath in and let it go. Under the nose. Breathing in, breathing out. Chin, nice deep breath. Collarbone. Under the arm. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Other under the arm. Breathing in, breathing out. Now we're going to go top of the head using both hands this round. Breathing in, breathing out. inside of the eyes. Breathing in and out. Outside of the eyes. Deep breath. Under the eyes. And release. Under the nose. Chin. Nice deep breath in and out. And collarbone. And under one arm. And under the other arm. And now we're just going to end on the karate chop point. Nice deep breath in. Deep breath out. Okay, so I just want you to close your eyes and tune back in and just notice whatever you notice. Has anything shifted? Has anything changed? Do you feel any differently than you felt before? And does anybody want to share anything? You don't have to, but if you want to, before we move on.
I'll share.
Okay.
I'll say something. Yeah. Hey.
Okay.
Hi, Bonnie. I was tracking a few things. I was tracking a tightness in my solar plexus and a tightness in my throat. They each had emotions, sort of sadness and collapse in the solar plexus and in the throat. I'm not really sure, but possibly fear. But I was also tracking how much I hated it and felt bothered by it. So that went from a 7 to a 0.
Wow. That's significant.
I thought so, yeah. Yeah. The actual physical feelings dropped slightly, but the bother about it's gone.
Okay, great. Perfect. Thank you. Does anybody else want to say anything before we move on?
I'd like to share just a little bit.
Absolutely.
I felt a general sense of calming and like warm energy shifting through my body instead of being caught up in like a tense feeling overall, just a flush of calmness, just from going through and doing the breathing. The breathing really helps too.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks, Mary.
I felt a lot of positive energy. It was like a coolness for me, but it was like a tingling and just almost, it was a lot of laughter. It was like fun. Like I was able to let go of what I was feeling and not holding all the tension.
Wonderful. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so we're going to move on now then to the next part of this. I'm going to bring this back up again. And we're going to do the picture tapping. So I love picture tapping. I find it to be so much fun. And I think it just works really, really well. So with the picture tapping, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to, I want you to tune back into the issue and the title that you wrote down for that issue. So go ahead and tune back into it. I want you to reactivate it again. And then I want you to take a blank sheet on your paper, and I want you to put your pen to paper and quickly draw whatever wants to come out. And when I say quickly, I mean, I don't want you to think about it. I want you to tune into the issue, put pen to paper, and quickly draw something. And remember that I said it doesn't have to be art. It could be scribbles. It can be whatever wants to come out. So everybody go ahead and do that. Okay. So now I want you to look at your picture and I want you to give it a label. Again, don't overthink it. Just go ahead and give it a label. Okay, so I want, if you're not muted, can you go ahead and mute yourself now, because it will get a little crazy, because we're going to actually, I'm going to ask you to speak out loud now. So go ahead and mute yourself if you're not muted. And we will go ahead and go into tapping. Okay, so while we tap with this, I'm going to have you, I want you to look at your picture while we tap, and I'm going to lead you, and I want you to repeat after me what I say. And I want you, when I say it's called, I want you to speak out loud the name of whatever you called your picture, okay? That's why I want everybody to mute themselves so it doesn't get crazy with all the different names coming out, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start tapping. We're gonna start on the karate chop and go ahead and look at your picture and repeat after me. Even though I've got this picture, I call it, and it represents how I feel. Even though I've got this picture, it's called, and it represents how I feel. Even though I've got this picture, it's called, and it represents how I feel. So we're going to start on the top of the head, and I want you to look at that picture, take a nice deep breath. This picture, inside of the eye, and everything it means to me outside of the eye. This picture, under the eye, and how I feel about it under the nose. This picture, chin. It's called collarbone. This picture, under the arm. I call it top of the head. This picture, inside of the eye, and how I feel about it outside of the eye. This picture, under the eye. This picture, under the nose, and what it means to me. This picture, collarbone, and how I feel about it under the arm. This picture, side of the head, and everything it means. So I want you to take a nice deep breath, and I want you to flip your sheet so you have another blank surface. And if you need to, you can turn it inside out. And then I want you to quickly put your pen to paper and draw the next thing that wants to come out. And once again, go ahead and put a label on it. Okay, take a nice deep breath. Look at that picture while you tap, and we're going to do the same exact thing again. So repeating after me, side of the head, even though I've got this picture, it represents how I feel. It's called, even though I got this picture, it's called, and it represents how I feel. Even though I got this picture called, and it represents how I feel. Nice deep breath, top of the head. This picture inside of the eye, and all it means to me outside of the eye. This picture under the eye, and how I feel about it under the nose. This picture, chin, it's called collarbone. This picture under the arm, and everything it means. Top of the head. This picture inside of the eye, and how I feel about it. This picture under the eye. It's called under the nose. This picture, chin, and everything I feel about it. Collarbone. This picture under the arm. This picture side of the head, and all it means. Okay. Nice deep breath. And go ahead and flip that sheet and put pen to paper and draw the next thing that wants to come out. Okay, go ahead and give it a label. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the exact same thing again. So looking at your picture, taking a nice deep breath, starting on the karate chop, even though I've got this picture, it represents how I feel. It's called, even though I've got this picture, it's called, and it represents how I feel. Even though I've got this picture, I call it, and it represents how I feel. Okay, top of the head. This picture inside of the eye, and all it means to me. This picture under the eye, and how I feel about it under the nose. This picture, it's called collarbone. This picture under the arm and what it represents. Top of the head. This picture inside of the eye. It's called this picture and how I feel about it under the nose. This picture, chin, and what it means, collarbone. This picture under the arm and what it represents. Side of the head. This picture. Okay, so go ahead and take a nice deep breath and get a blank sheet if you need it, or fold so you have another place to draw. I'm going to just do the same thing. Put pen to paper and draw the next thing that wants to come out. And again, once you have your picture, go ahead and give it a label. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again. This is the last time we're going to do it like this, and then we're going to shift. So starting the karate chop again, looking at that picture, take a nice deep breath. Even though I've got this picture, it's called, and it represents how I feel. Even though I've got this picture, it represents how I feel, and it's called, even though I've got this picture, called, nice deep breath, top of the head, look at that picture, this picture inside of the eye, and what it means to me outside of the eye, this picture under the eye. It's called under the nose, this picture, chin, and what it represents, collarbone. This picture under the arm and how I feel about it, top of the head. This picture inside of the eye, it's called side of the eye, this picture, and everything it means to me under the nose. This picture, chin, and how I feel about it, collarbone. This picture under the arm and what it represents, side of the hand. This picture called. Take a nice deep breath. And I want you to get yourself another blank space. And I want you to tune back in to the issue. And now I want you to draw something that represents how you would like to feel about this. Again, don't overthink it. Just put pen to paper and draw something that represents how you want to feel. And when you're done, go ahead and give it a label or a title. Okay, so we're going to do one more round of tapping on this. And again, we're just going to look at the picture and you're just going to follow what I say and do. So starting on the side of the hand, karate chop, taking a nice deep breath. Even though I've got this picture, it represents how I want to feel. It's called, even though I've got this picture, I call it, and it represents how I want to feel. Even though I've got this picture that represents how I want to feel. It's called. Top of the head, nice deep breath. Looking at that picture. This picture inside of the eye represents how I want to feel outside of the eye. It's called under the eye. This picture under the nose called chin represents how I want to feel. This picture under the arm and what it represents. This picture inside of the eye and what it means to me outside of the eye. This picture under the eye. It's called under the nose. This picture chin represents how I want to feel. Collarbone. This picture and all it means to me under the arms. This picture. Side of the head and all it represents. Take a nice deep breath and just tune back in. I want you to tune in and just notice what is most present for you right now. How are you feeling? And tuning back in to the issue that you've been working on. I want you to notice if anything shifted or changed. And on that scale of 0 to 10 that you used at the beginning, I want you to reassess and re-rate how much intensity you feel about the issue. Okay, so I just want to check in with everybody, and I want to see how you're all doing, and if anybody has anything that they'd like to share, anything that shifted or changed, or anything that you'd like to share with the group. And I think you're going to have to unmute. Everybody's going to have to unmute themselves.
Bonnie.
Hi, Betsy.
Hey, I kind of went through like these weird emotions, and like, one of them made me like yawn a lot.
Uh-huh.
And then like the second to last made me cry quite a bit.
Mhm.
I couldn't even, like, say the name of the picture. But then when we did the last one, I thought it was kind of strange that the girl that shared earlier was laughing, but it made me laugh too. It made me smile. I felt exactly like what I wanted to feel in that picture, and just kind of like left me at peace. And I had this horrible like backache, like right in the middle of my back when this started, and it's gone away. So
Well, wonderful.
I needed this apparently. Thank you.
Fabulous. So did you notice a shift in the intensity of the issue from when you started to now?
Oh, majorly. It went from like an 8 to a 2.
Wonderful. Great. All right.
Thanks.
Anybody else like to share? Anybody else notice any shifts or changes?
I know for me, my issue went from a 10 to a 3. And I noticed that laughter is important for me, because my first picture was bound, and my last one was, like the other woman just said about me, it was peace.
Nice.
And it came through the laughter, and just laugh. I don't laugh enough, I don't think.
I don't think any of us do. Wonderful. Thank you. So if you're doing this on your own, and you're working with something, you want to keep going with your pictures until you really feel a shift. And for some of you, there may have been a bunch more pictures that you could have processed through, and they could have come out before you wanted to make this shift to how you want to feel. But when we do it in a group, I kind of have to control it for everybody. So like I would say, if I was working with you one-on-one, we would go until you felt a definite shift in how you felt about the issue. And then I would ask you to draw how you want to feel. And the same thing is, if you're working on your own, you want to be very mindful of that. You don't want to rush it. Sometimes when I work with people, especially if it's an issue that's got a lot of different things attached to it, I've actually done like 15 pictures on one issue before we get to like how I want to feel about it. So that's something I wanted to make sure that you're aware of, because I kept this short. We did 4 pictures, and then we went into the how we wanted to feel. So you can go back on your own and readdress this again. Does anybody have have any questions or anything that they would like to share?
Bonnie, what if you don't have a lot of time and
Mhm.
it's in the moment and you're in between picking up, dropping off kids, or even your kids who are athletes, they're really stressed and you want to give them a strategy to do in the moment and they don't have time to do this? What do you recommend in those moments?
In those moments when you don't have time to like sit down and draw like that, what I would recommend is to just do what we did to start, which is called tap and breathe. So just tuning into what's bothering you, and then just go through the points and just take nice deep breaths and slowly move through the points. And as we only did 2 rounds of that, okay? And that, for a lot of you, you shared that it already had shifted how you were feeling quite dramatically. So that's something that you can do very quickly, pretty much anywhere. And even if you're like, say you're in a group of people, like you're feeling anxious, you're at school, you're in a meeting or this and that, you can, like, under the desk, under the table, you can just tap on the side of your hand, like under the table, while you just take deep silent breaths, and that will help calm you. The other thing that you can do in public is you can squeeze the sides of the fingers. So there's acupressure points on the side of all your fingers, like see, like on the side of every finger on the sides. I'm trying to get so you can see. You can squeeze those and breathe, the same sort of thing. I've used the tapping on the side of the hand and squeezing the fingers many times in public, if you're in public. The other thing is, if like you're feeling like really stressed or like overwhelmed, one of the best things that you can just do is look up and take a deep breath. Look up, stand up, look out a window, and bring your eyes up. And that has a way of calming the nervous system down as well.
Wow.
So yeah, there's just a lot of little things that you can use throughout your day to kind of like keep you more present and in the moment. Because usually what happens is we get hijacked by our thoughts. We're in our heads, we're not present in the moment. And that's what gets us stuck in that loop that turns on the stress system and starts to create anxiety. The other thing is I like to call this suppressed pause. It's like, if you notice that you've got if you're anxious and you got a lot of negative emotion going, take some nice deep breaths. I put my finger right in between my eyes and I say, stop. I say, okay, like I say this in my mind, am I okay right now in this moment? Is there anything going wrong right now in this moment? And usually the answer is no. It's usually you're in your head with thoughts. There's not usually anything actually going wrong. And so, just bringing yourself into the present, asking yourself if you're okay, if you're safe, is anything actually going wrong, can also kind of like break that cycle. Any other questions, comments, anybody would like to share? Okay. So before we wrap it up, I just wanted to tell you about, so I'm going to be running a 30-day group that's starting on Monday, and it's using, my little thing is, so when you shift how you feel, your whole life starts to shift. So good feeling thoughts create good feeling emotions create good feeling experiences, good feeling relationships, good feeling bodies, and a good feeling life. So we all do have the power to start shifting our thoughts so that they're better feeling thoughts that have more positive emotions attached to them. And that really can make a huge difference in our day-to-day lives. So I'm going to be running this 30-day emotional reset group. And it's a 30-day program that helps you process, release, and reset your patterns of thoughts and negative emotions and experiences that are creating stress, anxiety, and keeping you from living a happy, healthy, deeply satisfying life. So it's 30 days of group coaching and tools and processes, and it includes 4 weekly modules, 4 live group sessions that will be recorded, daily coaching and support via a private Facebook group, a life satisfaction assessment, which is really helpful to help you target the areas that you want to use tapping in this process on to help you to move forward. And a special bonus is a private 20-minute emotion code session with me. Now, this is emotion code is another technique that we didn't do tonight, but it's really, really effective in releasing trapped emotions. So when things happen to us that are traumatic or upsetting, emotions and negative emotions can become trapped in our energy system, and emotion code releases them. So this group is a very special deal for you guys tonight. It's usually $297, and it's $97 for the 4-week coaching program. So if anybody is interested in doing this with me, you can sign up to participate at bonniedurkin.com/reset. And it's going to start next Monday, January 24th. On Zoom, just like we did tonight at 7 o'clock. So that's, I hope you found tonight valuable and that you learned something that you can use on your own to help you feel better. And does anybody else have any questions about anything before I close it up?
Thank you. This was very beneficial.
Good. I'm glad, Mary.
Okay to share the upcoming the 30-day emotional reset with
Yes,
other people?
absolutely.
Cool. Okay.
The more the merrier. All right. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. And I thank you all very much for taking the time to spend this time with me tonight. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Much, Bonnie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.